You hear the stories, the cold spots, the fleeting shadow, the bump in the night. But what if those aren't just spooky tales? What if they're pieces of a larger puzzle? Pieces connected by human experience, emotion, and memory. I'm Tiffany, a paranormal investigator and psychic medium. Here on Beyond Logic with Tiffany, we're stepping past the fear. We're not just hunting ghosts, we're seeking to humanize the paranormal, connect with the spirits, find compelling evidence, and finally connect the dots that link our world and the next. This is Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Hey everybody, I just want to preface my episode coming up with a couple of additional comments. The first one is I completely screwed up my mention here in this episode. BB Paranormal is the YouTube channel that you're going to be searching for. I'm not sure if 31 Sins will pop up. However, I mentioned me being part of their podcast. It was when we talk about the Asher Walton house in my dream. It's actually not. It's actually my episode on my podcast where I invited BB Paranormal on as a guest. But I give them all of access to the video and stuff. I give it to them and they edited it their way. And they added in actual screenshots of everything, and it was really neat. Also, I'd like to preface this episode with a majority of my rant came from the pages that I follow, of the psychic medium pages that I'm on, because there are so many skeptics on there. And everybody will put a reason to everything is to prove somebody wrong. And it got really bothersome that day, I guess. And also some of it also stemmed from my teammate that is no longer my teammate. He used to second guess everything and basically say that I was fabricating the truth, or that he hopes he's not, but he trusts me, and you can't go back and forth with it. So I just kind of wanted to preface this episode. I hope you enjoy it. I actually enjoyed talking about my abilities and stuff, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, because one, I did screw up the YouTube channel, so it's BB Paranormal with the spin-off of 31 Sins, which I was a guest on, and I would check out that episode too, because that's really cool. But anyways, so yeah, that's just my little preface of the episode. Hope you enjoy it. Hey everybody. So I've been waiting on doing this episode for a while now, and I don't remember if I ever did one. I may have. But you're going to be with me while I basically do my getting ready for the day. So if you hear some random noises, I apologize. But no. So I've gotten a lot of questions and kind of dove deeper into my abilities a bit more. So that's pretty much what this episode is going to be about. Is abilities and psychics and mediums and things of that nature. So I'll start off by saying I have always had these gifts. If you've listened to the episodes prior, you know that. But I was on a podcast as a guest for my first one ever, which I was extremely grateful to be there, and I was also their first ever guest. 31 Sins, so check that out. Shout out time, guys. I appreciate you, and I know you're listening. Well, on their podcast, they asked some really actually deep questions that I kind of never really think about because I forget that other people don't know how this works. So, one of the questions was how it works, basically. And the only way that I can I really don't know how it works, aside from just, everybody has intuition. Literally everybody. It's whether you follow it and listen to it, or even feel it, I guess, for lack of, that really weird feeling you get in your stomach before something bad happens, that's your intuition. If you walk up to somebody and you get a really bad vibe right off the jump and you can't explain it, it's your intuition. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's medium, I'm not saying everybody's psychic, but everybody has intuition. If we didn't, human nature would have been eradicated a long time ago. So, with that being said, I have had dreams since I was young, a teenager, even probably before that. Very, very vivid, very clear dreams. And I would have people come and visit me that had passed away. And I just thought it was my memory of them, you know. The older I got, the more I started to pay attention to my dreams. And the more I started to realize that those people only came to me when I needed them. And that really sounds kind of dumb and kind of like, well, duh, if you're thinking about them. No, I wouldn't be thinking about them. I'd be thinking about whatever the problem is. And so you can argue that subconsciously your mind can create scenarios and do this and do that. Yeah, that's great. That's fine and dandy. Which I agree. Dreams can do that. But it's the stuff that happens that you just have no idea where they came from. They came from left field. And my dreams aren't always as they are. And I'll explain what I mean. When I was a teenager, my family was going through some rough stuff. And my grandfather, his house has always been like home to me. His house was always my go-to. Like, that was the one place that was the constant when I was younger, all the way up until I was 19 when he passed away. So for a lot of my dreams, when they're warnings or when they're whatever, happen at his house. Again, that's probably where the subconscious comes in, and that's my safe space. Well, I know when things are going to happen, but I have to put the clues together as to what it is that's going to happen. I don't want to use that example, so I will use it because it's just giving away too much of information that's not mine to share. I had a dream once that, this is going to sound freaking wild. So one of my older friends, her and I have kind of split paths because she is very toxic and very negative. And I've really tried to build myself around positive, and I won't say that I won't talk to her. I will. And, I still will wish her a happy birthday, happy holidays, whatever. Well, anyways, before everything started changing in me, I was almost like a chauffeur for her. And that's another reason, again, without going into too many details, that friendship was much more give than I could ever receive. Not that, again, and I'm not trying to... We all know that relationships are give and take. And if you give more, you can't only give from an empty cup so much. So, basically, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. But going back to my dream, I was driving her somewhere. And I don't know where we were coming from. It was a very weird place. I've never seen this place before, but we came over a hill. And all of a sudden, all of this ash started falling from the sky. Like the sky was on fire or something. I don't know. So we keep driving, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Now trees are falling down. There's animals running all over the place, to try to escape from the fire. And so I'm driving really slow so I don't hit anything, essentially, like whether that be a tree, to try to see through the ash, animals, whatever. Now, I only remember my dreams because of how frickin' vivid they are when they're about to come true. Again, if you go to the 31 Sins episode with me as a guest, you can see, if you watch it on YouTube, which is where theirs is based off of, you can see their reactions. You can even see what we're talking about, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But this dream, it just kept getting warmer and warmer. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, where's the fire coming from? And then you look over and the whole field to the right is just engulfed in flames. My daughter and I were driving home one day. It was dark outside. So, like, it usually can get illuminated a little bit more when it's dark out, when there's a fire. All of a sudden, and I'm not even kidding, I probably have a picture of it somewhere. All of a sudden, ash started hitting my windshield. And my oh shit odometer went fucking 0 to 100. And I'm just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. This can't be happening. Sure enough, there was a field on fire, literally probably 150 yards away from the road. There was so many cars pulled over. There was so many people, like, wondering what was going on, because it was literally like the sky was raining fire. And that's just one of the many, 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 many instances that I've had in my life where my dreams have come true. So a tidbit, I guess, that a lot of people don't know about me, unless you know me personally. I almost ruined my engagement. I was married. My now ex-husband at the time lied right to my face because I called him out on it. I was like, are you going to propose during such and such a time? Because I saw the entire thing. And he looked at me and he goes, no. Which, do I blame him for lying to me then? Absolutely not. I would have done the same thing in that situation because what, you know, the shock, everything that I knew, the secret that he'd been keeping for months, and I just called him out on it. And, like, it's not fun ruining your engagement. But after a while, I asked him, I was like, did I shock you? He's like, yeah. He goes, I asked your mom if she freaking slipped up because I couldn't figure out how you knew. I was like, oh, well, welcome to my life. So that's another example. My best friend in high school, we were inseparable. Like, you would have honestly thought we were sisters. Like, our parents probably, well, matter of fact, I know they just kind of considered each of us as their own in each of our respective households. Like, I didn't walk when I walked in this girl's house. I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Oop, dropped my phone, sorry. Like, her whole family knew me. Obviously. You know, it was just that dynamic that we had. And I had a dream that I was walking down the street babysitting a little girl. Now, I knew this street very well because I lived maybe 5 minutes away from it, 10 minutes at most. Matter of fact, we both did. We only lived a few minutes away from each other. But I was being followed by somebody in my dream. Now, again, these are all extraordinarily vivid. But like I mentioned, my dreams aren't always, they can be, but they're not always exactly how they appear to me. My best friend at the time was babysitting a girl, and she had to run into the house because she thought she was being followed. Happened maybe a month later. I could keep going. Those are just the ones that stand out to me. I've started to write my dreams down a lot more. I used to do it all the time when I was a teenager. Now I enjoy my sleep too much to stop in the middle of the night and write down what I'm doing or what I'm dreaming about. But, yeah. And then, well, if you've had the opportunity to listen to some of my other podcasts, The Hinsdale House, I had a dream of it way before I even knew what it looked like. Now, on top of my abilities, obviously I'm a paranormal investigator. I have done research on things of how they work and energy and how it doesn't dissipate, science, all that stuff. My abilities just enhance what I already do. I don't look at these locations before I go, unless I don't have a choice. Like, for example, when I had my counterpart, I didn't have to look up anything. I didn't have to look up directions like on Google Maps or anything. It was really easy for me to just be completely in the dark. And I do that on purpose because, for one, I want my credibility, and two, I don't ever, you know what, we'll go into that in a little bit. Anyways, Hinsdale was crazy. I described the house. I knew that there was going to be a fire going when we got there. It calls to you. It was bizarre. And so again, going to that subconscious thing, I can't subconsciously just conjure up a building that I don't know what it looks like. There's been no, I didn't even know what Hinsdale was until we went to Hinsdale. So there's that. The podcast episode talks about the Asher Walton house. And I actually sent my ex-partner in crime for my paranormal stuff, my ex-teammate, a text message, a very lengthy text message about details of a house that I had never been to. And during that podcast episode, we were talking about our collaboration that we're going to be doing, and that's coming up next year. And I started just talking nonchalantly, and their faces just changed. Their whole demeanor, their faces dropped. Not in a bad way, but in a oh shit way. Because I was describing a house that I've never been to. So even if I had seen the outside, I had no idea what it looked like on the inside at all. But, backtracking a little bit, I had never seen the outside. Again, I try to keep as much as humanly possible hidden from myself before I go to a location. Again, on their podcast, sorry to keep going back to it, but you guys are getting a lot of recognition today. I sent them the screenshots of the text messages. And after talking after that, I met up with my then counterpart, and he was like, oh, it's like I wasn't even there. Lo and behold, he's not going to be there because we are no longer a team. So that was really... my dreams are fucking wild. But, yeah. So, going to, I guess, the other part of what I kind of stopped myself from saying is I literally live by being honest. I had a rough childhood, and I was always accused of lying when I was telling the truth. And the funny thing about that is that the truth always ends up coming out anyways. So I was always found to be right. And I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say that. But I also never got an apology for it. So now I just kind of roll with the punches. I don't care if you believe me or not anymore. Because eventually, it's going to be found out anyway, one way or the other. And I'm not always right. I will never, ever, ever, ever say I'm right and you're wrong. Unless it's something that's energy never dies and you try to argue that it does. That's scientifically proven. So if you want to think like that, that's on you. But as far as the things that I say when I'm on an investigation, I'm not a fake person. I can stop talking and you can read the subtitles on my face. I can't lie. And it's really funny because people at work are like, Tiff, you gotta look at your face every now and again. And I'm just I can't help it. I can't. Because I can literally be talking to somebody and not say a word and it'll read all over my face that I think you're full of shit. I cannot lie. And anybody that knows me knows that I wouldn't lie anyways. Because that's not how I am. I got told I was lying too much in my life. When I wasn't, to even care about even trying to fabricate the truth. I have no reason to lie. I have no want to lie. I'm authentic. I'm me. And not everybody's going to like me, and that's fine. But what I won't do is I won't just pull something out of my ass and just expect you to believe it. if I say it, it's because that's what I feel, not because I believe it's true. If that makes sense. Like, when I go to a paranormal investigation and I say, I feel like, for example, we went to Wildwood. That's my most recent investigation. It was the end of November. I felt like there was a black man that was there with me. I had no proof of that. I have no proof of any records of anybody that was there who wasn't there. But that's what I felt. Did I say it? I did. Did I say I'm right because I feel it? Nope. And I wouldn't expect that to be a thing anyway. But I will say that just because there's not a record of something doesn't mean that somebody's wrong. There's so much that wasn't documented back in the very early periods of time. Or if it was documented, it was destroyed, it's gone, it was misconstrued, something. A lot of psychics and mediums get a lot of backlash when somebody can't find something documented. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that it wasn't put on a piece of paper for everybody to know about. So the next time that somebody goes to some place that they're literally using their abilities and they say something and you can't find credibility for it, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not credible. It just means that it's not found on paper. And I really can't emphasize that enough, because a lot of psychics, actually not even a lot, every single one of us are different. We're still human beings. We're not some extraterrestrial thing that just decided to grace the planet with our presence. We're still human. And with that being said, everybody reads energy differently. My cues can be completely different to somebody else. Like, I gag when I find a dead body. Or I gag if, they passed away somewhere. It hasn't happened in a while, because I've learned to control it. I've learned to know my cues. When I was at Hinsdale, I kind of made an offhanded comment. And I've learned, and this is, I guess, my way of apologizing for my backhanded comment. I very clearly made it known that I thought that a psychic was fake. I should have never done that. She was not able to pick up on the things that I was able to pick up on. And when she did say things, they didn't really correlate with me. Until I learned and started talking to other psychics, other mediums, and started to understand that not everybody can pick up on the same frequencies. Not everybody can pick up on how do I word this? There's different ranges of frequencies. There's different ranges of energy, right? So just because one psychic can pick up on something and another one can't, doesn't mean that they're not credible. And again, I was an asshole. And I really do actually outwardly apologize for that, because that was wrong of me. Because I'm sure that there's things that other people have picked up on that I haven't picked up on, and they didn't call them out like an asshole. So the next time that you work with a psychic or a medium, or if you never have before, just bear in mind that there's going to be information that comes through that you're not going to be able to find confirmation of. You're not going to be able to have somebody else confirm it. And everybody and every experience is going to be different. Now, it doesn't necessarily make a person wrong, but it also doesn't necessarily make them right either. So take that credibility as what it is. Because it seems like everybody's out to prove that psychics and mediums aren't real. And that's kind of a slap in the face. So another question I got was, is there ways to enhance your abilities? So there is. And I have actively been trying to do so. I use tarot a lot when I read people. I'm kind of leaning away from that because I'm trying to make myself stronger in that aspect of reading people without a tool. It's not easy. Building this stuff that you don't know how it works, let me tell you. It's no small challenge. It's a huge challenge. Like, if I knew how this crap worked, I'd make millions. I'm sure y'all would. Yes, you can strengthen your abilities by trusting yourself, trusting your intuition. If you're one that believes in stones, you can use certain rocks and stones to enhance your abilities. I think it's, oh goodness, I'm going to butcher this, blue kyanite, I think, is one of those stones. I used to wear it. I don't anymore. I do little exercises. Like, there's little exercises on Facebook. I joined quite a few psychic medium groups, actually, just to try to figure out how to hone in on my abilities and, see what others think and how other perspectives work. Which is where I got a lot of the information that I'm sharing with you right now. There are fakes out there. Let me just throw that out there. There are people that you're going to go to and they're going to read you, whether that be with or without tarot cards, that are just going to give you a bunch of bullshit. If you've ever had a reading with me, that's only happened one time, but I'll flat out tell you I can't read you. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm definitely not going to feed you a bunch of bullshit. That is not how I roll. That's not how I like to be. And I honestly think that that's just as much as of a slap in the face as everybody trying to debunk what people are saying. I shouldn't say debunk, because I debunk everything. But I'm not going to go out there and try to ruin somebody's credibility. I've learned my lessons, and again, this is my apology. Everybody's on different levels. It doesn't mean that they are or aren't credible. But going back to strengthening it, I do little intuitive exercises where there'll be like a picture of somebody and they're like, tell me their occupation, tell me what their hobbies are. Or if you find a picture, like, what's in my hand? Is it a stone? What color is the stone? Stuff like that. That's you're training yourself to believe in yourself, for one, and not second guess yourself, but you're also strengthening that intuition. You're training yourself to hone in on those skills. Like I said, I read tarot. Sometimes somebody will be like, it's just a piece of paper, or it's just a card or cardstock with pictures on it. You are so right. I am so proud of you. You called me right out. But your energy goes into those cards, and the circumstances surrounding them are almost too coincidental to not be accurate. Like, there's 78 cards in a lot of tarot card decks. The sequences which pop out when you put your energy into those cards, there are so many different variances and variables that could have created those cards to come up. They don't come up by chance. And that's how tarot works. Now, everybody reads tarot differently. I use it as a tool, and I put the story together. I can't really explain it any other way than that, but that's just how it works for me. Now, all of these things that I'm sharing with you are just experiences that I've had and how I operate. I'm starting to see auras, which is really cool. I'm starting to trust when energy shifts. It may not be because of me or because of whatever circumstances surrounding me, but I can feel it. And I'm starting to trust that. I get random smells. I see spirits. I see things in my mind eye that plays like an old-time movie where you could only see video and no sound came out. That's how I see my visions a lot of the time. Sometimes I don't get anything. I won't say that I've ever gone into a place and always gotten something, because that would be a lie. And I'm not going to do that. Even when I'm at a haunted location and there's nothing happening, I can still feel the energy. So a dead night for everybody else, like, okay, yeah, I can still feel when things shift. But I can also feel when things settle down. Wildwood was one of those times. And so was the Dunkirk Lighthouse. Both of those places kind of started off like super energetic, super active as far as like energy, and then just kind of dissipated. It doesn't mean that it's gone. And it doesn't mean that it's not there or wasn't there. It just means that, I don't know, maybe they went to bed. You know, residual energy is always going to be there. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be prominent. These gifts are freaking wild. And people argue all the time. How do you know if you're intuitive or psychic rather than schizophrenic? I've lived with a schizophrenic person, and I can definitely tell you there's a freaking difference. There is a very, 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 very big difference. Because schizophrenia is a constant. It's negative. It makes the person that experiences it sometimes turn into people that you don't recognize. And it's scary being around somebody that's schizophrenic. Again, I'll play devil's advocate. You can argue that being around a medium is scary because you don't know. And everybody fears the unknown. But man, I tell you, there's a very big difference. And it took me a really long time to be able to accept that. But that's not here nor there. Not that I thought I was crazy. Believe me, I did not think I was crazy. But I also didn't want to turn out like the person that I was living with. But anyway, I guess the whole point of my TED Talk here is that everybody's gifts are different. You can have an expectation and it can either be blown out of the water, or you can have such a high expectation that you get let down. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes. But, I mean, I've had things play in my head that I've left in my head because I don't want people to think that I'm lying. And that's really unfortunate that we have that in this field. But all it takes is you believing you, right? My ex-partner used to always encourage me to say things that I'm seeing. And it used to really bother me because I didn't trust myself enough to say the things that I was seeing. But if it came up in conversation, like, I would say, yep, that's what I saw. Hinsdale, the swamp hag, she's still probably one of the scariest goddamn things I've ever had happen to me. Like I said, I don't lie. I can't act to save my life, and everything comes out over my face whether I want it to or not. I couldn't breathe. I saw this girl's face in my face, clear as day, and I legitimately had to leave. There's no faking that. There really isn't. Have you seen that video? I was pissed that I left. Because that's what I try to grow my gifts for, right? Is to literally have stuff like that happen. And I still left. But it wasn't because I was, I was about to say it wasn't because I was scared. I was scared. I was terrified because I couldn't breathe. I wasn't scared because she was in my face. I wasn't scared because I was seeing her. I was scared because I was losing my breath very, very rapidly. And you can hear my breathing shift in that video. And you can see my reaction, and you can see the aftermath of when I come back upstairs, because I was livid with myself. I have never been so disgusted of running from something ever. I mean, that's not me. I don't run. I don't run from anything. But I can't say that anymore, because I did. I ran from not being able to breathe. And once I broke that barrier of that room that I was in, I was fine. I was able to breathe again, and again, probably one of the scariest goddamn moments ever. But I will say that I can chalk it up as one of the coolest ones. I'm a freaking walking contradiction. That was the first time that I'd had so much emulated that a spirit literally showed me how she died, and I felt it. I wish I had more answers. I wish I had the knowing of why or how this works. I don't. I'm getting to know how other people work and how I work, but I can't tell you why I have these gifts. I have my theories. One of those theories is that I was closer to death than some people. And while I don't believe that everybody... Well, I don't even know. Because a lot of people don't talk about it when they have abilities and they have gifts. And I see why, because they're scared of the criticism, of the speculation that they're lying, of, you know, all of the negative that comes with this stuff. But there's a lot more people out there than anybody realizes that have gifts. Like, seriously, like, you would be completely floored if I told you some of the people that don't believe in themselves that have gifts. And most of them are people that I know. Do I think they're as strong as others? No. Do I think I'm as strong as other people? Nope. I know I've got a long way to go. But I also see how far I've come. There is such a stigma that people are lying. It's disgusting. Because there are people out there that do, and I get that. But the people that are real, true, authentic people, and you can tell that they're real and true and authentic, and they still get told that they're lying, that's just bullshit to me. On top of all of that, I'm going to go into my theory a little bit. Like I said, people that are closer to death. I had open heart surgery when I was 6 months old. My heart stopped. I trust and believe that part of the reason I have my abilities is because of that. Granted, I didn't quote-unquote die, but my heart stopped. I was hooked up to a machine that was keeping me alive. I know people that have coded and came back and said, yep, I'm a believer. There's other psychics and mediums that I've talked to that have like, yep, I had a near-death experience. And now I see things that I can't explain. My other theory that I'm starting to kind of gather is those who have seen traumatic things. On top of my near-death experience, I've lived through a lot of trauma. I'm not going to go through and explain what I've been through. That's not necessary. And I know a lot of people throw trauma and PTSD around loosely. No, I've been legitimately diagnosed. Like, I have PTSD. I've worked through a lot of it. But PTSD changes your brain. Again, that's science. That's not just me throwing shit out just to see if it sticks. When your brain changes, everything changes. So my theories are trauma and near-death experiences. If you are one of those that have never experienced either of those and you have gifts, please let me know. Seriously. Because I am trying to do more research on this on my own. And literally every medium that I've talked to has gone through something. Again, that doesn't make me right, but science is all about trial and error and collecting data and evidence, and that's exactly what I'm doing. But, ouch. How much of this is actually going to be resonated with, I don't know. But I do know that every person that listens and everybody that comments and all of that, it's really appreciated. And anybody that follows me on my Beyond Logic page on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, anything like that, it's so appreciated. Because I'm trying to take a different approach of being just dead honest, whether it makes people upset or not. Because the one thing you can't take away from me is truth and my honesty. There's been a lot taken away from me, especially recently. And there's a lot of things that I threw away. Regardless of the situation, regardless of how it happened, it's helping shape me and be who I am authentically. And I'm starting to finally find my people. And it took me a really long time to do that. Maybe not as long as some other people, but long enough for me. I've been silenced for a really long time. Mostly by my own accord, because I just didn't feel confident enough to have a voice. I didn't feel confident enough to say, I don't care if you believe me. But now I do. And now I'm saying, if you don't believe me, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But if you do and you want to jump on board and you want to have more random ass discussions like this, or have me just shoot shit out my mouth because I think that everybody needs to understand certain things, then please follow along. Because I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And I've already lost people out of my life. For one, because of this, and two, because I've just finally put up boundaries. People don't like boundaries. I've realized that. It's really kind of entertaining. Everybody wants you to respect theirs, but they don't respect yours. But that's a different podcast episode. But, yeah, hopefully this resonated with somebody at least, and hopefully maybe I put in perspective what psychics and mediums are and how they operate. And I know I've been put into check lately with a lot of things, and I couldn't be happier that I have, because I'm growing as a person, and I'm accepting, and I'm willing to say that I was wrong. Hopefully more people will step up and be on board with that too. And I'm not just saying in the paranormal world. But, yeah. There's a lot of new podcast guests coming on. There's some ones that have been repeated. There's another repeat guest coming back on that I've just learned a little bit more about him, and I keep learning more about him, and it's funny how much we're on the same wavelength. And again, that goes on to the whole I'm finding my tribe thing. So stay tuned for my guests. Stay tuned for more of my long-ass rants. And hopefully you get a little bit of enlightenment out of this. And once I gather some more research, I think I'll do some more episodes. Just kind of strictly this stuff.